Previously on Charlotte with a D.
Charlotte drove to London to buy a sword from a dominatrix. Also, she received a traffic fine and concluded that she needed to do something serious about her finances. Obviously, the most sensible thing to do is to decide to put together a 2,000-point legal tournament army using the most cost-efficient units available. The most cost-efficient units are Stompas. Unfortunately, it is not possible to field 3 Stompas as a 2,000-point army because there aren't enough points to also have a warlord. Instead, she put together a plan for a bastard concoction of 2 Stompas, a Morkanaut, 2 Death Reds, 3 Clear Cans, and a single Big Mac in Mega Armor.
What could possibly go wrong? It's here. Be careful not to dox yourself, Charlotte. So for anyone who missed the previous video, this is part 2 of All Stompas, which hopefully will lead to me fielding a, if not All Stompas, at least extremely Stomper heavy army for a tournament. And this is the first part of it because Stompas are currently out of stock everywhere, and I'm not having a panicked meltdown about the possibility of them getting squatted. You are. But yes, assuming they don't get squatted, then hopefully we'll be making it with some Stompas to a tournament at some point. Although that said, I'm just going to sort of say that I have seen some of the stuff around the upcoming Orc Codex, and I am extremely excited. Because the upcoming Orc Codex looks like it may well have some very interesting detachment options. In particular, one of the ones that seems to have been mentioned is called Flyboys, and I am super excited about that because there's 2 ways that could really go. One is something that's very like aircraft focused, so maybe lots of planes and maybe lots of Devcopters, or 2, that might be something that has an awful lot of Stormboys attached, or maybe making Stormboys kind of battle line rather than your, kind of one of your extra units. And I'll be honest, there is a bit of me at the back of my mind has always loved the idea of making a kind of flying circus of just aircraft and Stormboys, and potentially Stormboys on aircraft. Like, I love the idea of like modelling it so that an aircraft has basically like a squad of Stormboys just like mounted underneath the wings. And you could run that, you could probably run that in game as if it's just Stormboys deep striking that just happen to be where the aircraft is. But also I just love the fluffy idea of just like, yeah, we're dropping boys as bombs. They're the bomb boys. Anyway, yes, so here we have Morkanaut, or Gorkanaut, is the same thing really, and I'm really curious and excited about this. I'm not actually entirely sure what the difference really is between the Morkanaut and the Gorkanaut. They both seem to have like a big claw thing and then a big gun thing. But one of them is like 20 odd points more than the other. But the main thing is this is going to be like the walker kind of centerpiece of the army, and there's a tiny bit of me is wondering, could I find some way of putting like some dry ice, or maybe like a little kind of like vaporizer thing, we just put like water in and it kind of makes like a little cloud, because I love the idea of, you see this front bit that's meant to like open up. Absolutely love the idea of having the doors open and then just a little like cloud rolling out along with the reveal of my big mech in Mega Armor as the war boss. I don't know how practical that would be, but I'm going to give it some serious thought. I mean, a big bit of it's going to be how much space we actually have inside this, and yes, I'm one of those crazy people who's quite happy to paint the inside of a vehicle. Like, I genuinely enjoy that. I love the idea of it. I love to make doors open if it's possible, see, so we've got the instructions, and then we've got quite a bit of plastic in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 big sprues. Oh, these are the all important body components. Yes, you can see you've got the armpits.
Ball or aerosol? Neither. I want it for my armpits.
Which is obviously one of the most important things on any vehicle. And these with doors. Really like the detailing on this. Lots and lots of bits, and of course, you know, one of the biggest value things, or one of the most important things that I'm always interested in, is how many spare bits do you get left over with when you've finished it. That's looking very, very nice. So it looks like we've got like a big kind of skull thing to be like the totem. Let me just, you know, kind of highlight that, this bit here. A couple of options, in fact. It's always kind of fun to think, okay, but can I replace it with something different? And I have some plans for this, because I've been thinking provisional name for the army is going to be Gork and Mork and Mindy. So this will be Mindy. And so there's a couple of thoughts I'm having about Mindy. First of all is, of course, Mindy might like to have a very nice bow. And the other thing is I'm thinking of Gork and Mork as being the bodyguards. So I'm thinking about doing them as if they're wearing suits with sunglasses and like a little coily thing to the ear like bodyguards. And so Mindy, maybe Mindy's going to be in something kind of quite femme, or maybe Mindy's going to be dressed up like a mafia boss. Always lovely to see our figures for like our actual orcs. So this looks to be a very mechy looking guy. I guess he's going to be the captain. I can see I've got an optional alternative head here. And then on this one we have, now is that an orc or is that a grunt? No, that's an orc. It's going to be a full-sized orc gunner. So that'll be fun. Yeah, and then we've got a couple of different, we've got another couple of ordinary heads. I'm not quite sure if any of these are quite speaking to me, but it's okay. I've got a big bunch of heads. So I'm sure I will pick something out that looks appropriate. And then, yeah, then it has a base. And bases can get weird. Like this is an extremely distorted base. Like, you know, I get that they start off as circles and then beyond a certain size or a certain kind of shape you want kind of ovals, but this is getting like very, very wide and stretched. Like that feels weird, because looking at the shape of it, I'm pretty sure that's going to have to be like sitting like that, not like that. And that's just going to feel like a very weird shape to have on the tabletop. Oh well. Okay, so it looks like the Gorkanaut has got this, basically, it's a bigger version of the kind of arc welder thing that mechs sometimes have as their big gun. Which does feel kind of pro, because I think a lot of my army is kind of themed around the idea that it is led by a mech or multiple mechs. Like, that's kind of like been at the back of my mind as a lot of the lore that I've been thinking of. So that does feel like an appropriate weapon for a kind of a mech-focused army. And obviously we've also got on the top here a custom force field, which is extremely excellent for not getting shot to pieces while you're still making your way towards the enemy, which is, you know, one of the important things for orcs. Whereas Gorkanaut, it looks like you've got this very, very satisfying looking gun. Like, oh my goodness, look at that, I love it. And that's where your gunner comes in, and I have to say, I do really like the look of that. That is very tempting. So it all kind of comes down to, do I want to go with something fluffy and mech focused, or do I want to go with a thing with a really satisfying big gun? Okay, and reassuringly, having a quick glance through here, it does look like at the very least this is done using modern instructions, which is so important. I've seen some horror stories about the Stompa kit, so at the very least it's good to know that this kit at least is going to be relatively straightforward. It's Also interesting that you've got the head, but then there's almost this kind of shelf on top of it. That's, you see, I think that is the one thing that kind of bothers me about the sculpt on this, is they do look very boxy, and in a way the way it's almost kind of difficult to imagine them walking, so in my mind I wasn't entirely sure whether these were legs or some kind of tracks or something. So what I might be interested in doing is there any way that I can repose them to look more dynamic and more like it's a walker that's walking? I'm going to take some time to have a careful look at the parts and see what I can do with that. But yes, I think this has got my hobbying satisfied for at least next week. Stay tuned, and I will update you as I go. Bye for now.
Your hand of holding Imperium's mighty weapons, not for wanking!